And Andy Lou, we are back. For those of you who are joining us live, check out our interview with Dr. Narav. But moving forward, the Warriors beat the Oklahoma City Thunder 141-114. I feel like the number one way to describe this win is the Warriors played serious. I feel pretty good about everything, all things considered. Dr. Narav made me feel a little more optimistic about the timetable with Steph. And the Warriors play tonight made me feel optimistic that they feel optimistic because, Klay, Draymond, the birthday boy Looney, Wiggins, best game since he come back from the injury, Jordan Poole, they played like a team who's like, we can hold the fort until Steph Curry comes back.
By the way, not the feeling that I got. You texted me that midway through the game. No. You texted me that midway through the game, and I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense because my thought was what Draymond and Klay did tonight was they showed out for Steph. It kind of felt like hey, you're out. Like, we're going to take care of you while you're out. And they showed up. Those were the two best players for the Warriors. Actually, everybody on the Warriors were amazing, so we'll get to it. But it started with the two guys out of the big three. Draymond on defense, especially on defense, and Klay Thompson making 25 threes tonight. So I thought that this was the least stressful game of the season. I don't know about best win, but I mean, this is right up there, Sam. Right up there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd call it the best win or anything, but it's exactly what I wanted to see from this team off of the Steph Curry news. Look, trade deadline, 3 days away. If you're listening to this Tuesday morning, 2 days away. We're right there. We don't know what they're doing. All reports frustrate me. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like they're annoying. But all you can do is hope this team keeps making a case to move forward and hold down the fort till Steph comes back. And that's what they did tonight. They won. Very comfortable game. And it was led by the players you would expect to lead, right? Like Klay Thompson gets all the credit, and we'll talk about him in a minute. But I feel like Draymond, Looney, and Wiggins and Jordan Poole all deserve credit because it was a super, super professional. Like, there's nothing. Every one of them did exactly what you would hope they would do in this situation.
Okay, so let's start with Poole. I mean, not Poole, Klay. Jesus, let's start with Klay because that's the man of the hour. And I'm with you. Professional is actually a really good way to put it. And let's start with Klay because the threes that he took and made to start the game weren't, hey, I'm gonna chuck it up off the dribble from 30. I'm gonna shoot these crazy. No, it was pretty ball movement, come off the screen, good look, knock it down. Right. That was what Klay did all night. And the Warriors they didn't come out and blow this game out the water. They actually needed Klay to make every single one of those shots to keep him in the game to start.
Yeah, it was kind of a slow start, but didn't you feel like in that slow start, like they weren't hitting shots and, the defense could have been better to start the game, but it didn't feel like they were out of sorts with it. It felt like they were kind of feeling their way into the game a little bit there. And for me, a big thing was like they weren't turning the ball over too heavily. I'm going to highlight Jordan Poole having 12 assists, 4 turnovers. I don't feel like the turnovers, though, were particularly bad from tonight. Like, this was a very good Jordan Poole game in general.
I mean, one of the best of the season. One of his best of the season.
Yeah, control, hit it. Obviously, 5 for 10 from 3, 12 assists speaks for itself. 20, but like just generally playing in the flow. Sometimes I feel like he gets out of flow when Steph and Klay are both going. Like he doesn't know where to pick his spots. And in some ways, it's easier for him to play when one of them are out of lineup. It doesn't matter which one. It's just like one of them needs to be out of the lineup. But it was a thing earlier in the year. It's a thing anytime Klay sits and Steph's in the lineup. And tonight it was a thing. He was a lot more comfortable, and they got going.
That was the key, I think. So outside of Klay going supernova, by the way, he always does this against OKC. It's hilarious. I think he's shooting 70% from 3 against OKC this season. He loves him. He sees red. He just goes off. It's great.
I have a couple Thunder friends, and just anytime they see Klay, it's like
the fear of God.
Yeah, it's very personal. It's like I'm trying to think of a good analogy, but it's the boogeyman. They'd rather see LeBron than Klay.
Yeah, I mean, look at what happened, right? So you could argue that he cost them a championship. Back to Jordan Poole, him not having to, and this isn't Steph's fault, and I don't think it's Klay's fault, but him not having to play next to Steph and Klay and try to figure out how to play with those guys makes his life so much easier. Because tonight he didn't have 21 at half. He had 21 at the game. He had 5 at halftime, and he was 1 for 5 from the field at halftime. But what I said was he's in control of the game, didn't turn the ball over, is making all the right passes to Klay, right? And he's not doing anything crazy. Did he dribble off his foot one time today? No. Not a single once. Not a single one. So I thought that was Jordan Poole's best. I mean, he's had better shooting games, but to me, this is the best game. If he can play 70, there are going to be games where he has to score more. But if he can play 70, 75% of this game in terms of IQ and decision making, they are going to be fine for as long as Steph is out for the next 2-3 weeks, whatever.
Yeah, a couple thoughts on that. One, it's like, look, on aggregate, he's had a really frustrating season. There's been times where I've just been like, I can't do anymore. He's got to go, like, but
yep.
When you see him, like, he plays like an all-star at times. There's not a lot of guards who can play at this level. So it kind of wraps you back in to calm down a little bit with him and just realize like he is an incredibly talented player. And on the broader thing with him, the thing that pops to me is just they've never had a guard who can hold the fort down when Steph gets hurt. We're hopeful that maybe it's closer to 2 to 3 weeks than 4 to 6. We don't know. No one knows at this point, but Jordan Poole has shown he can kind of hold the fort down if Steph's gone for a handful of games. And I don't know what number you put on that, but that's incredibly valuable. Particularly when he can play the same style. In other words, it allows like Klay and Draymond and other guys to get going.
Yep, because Ty Jones is a pretty good backup point guard. I think he's going to be in the league for a while. I like him. And maybe they'll be fine with him playing some point guard role if Jordan Poole on this team. But just watch the way he plays, man. It's just normal backup point guard stuff. He can't really move. He can dribble, but it's just he can't get by any run. He can make an open shot, but that's right. But Jordan Poole, maybe not the smartest player, but God, I tweeted it out. He lives in chaos, just like Steph. He sees a ball go sideways, and he picks it up. He goes, I'm gonna chuck it up because it feels like he's gonna make those threes 75% of the time, and he made one of those tonight. That's the way that Poole plays, and I don't know. Like to your point, I don't know how many guys are in the NBA that could play like that. Like Jalen Brunson is probably a better player than Jordan Poole and got a good contract. Tyler Hero got a contract, right? I don't really know if those guys can play the way that Poole, and maybe Brunson is better for this team than Poole. But I think you watch the game tonight, you're like, well, he just did what Steph does. I mean, he just did what Steph did tonight, and they're not winning this game without him, and they're not going to win many games without Poole playing well in the next 2 weeks, right? So pretty important.
And I think that is an important point to make, where it's like it allows Klay, Draymond, Looney, Wiggins to play and flow. Like it's the same rhythm. It's the same feel. Like, yes, he's probably not going to hit as many of those ridiculous bullshit threes that Steph hits, but no one is, right? Like that's just life.
Yeah.
So let's talk Wiggins real quick.
Yes. I'm glad we're doing this one. It's my favorite one today.
Was this his best game since he came back from injury?
By far.
Feels like it, yeah.
By far. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was about to he was in the middle of cooking the Warriors. Poole had no chance, obviously. And Klay couldn't really muscle up. Klay was better in the second half against them. But they put Wiggins. I tweeted out, this is why you paid GP2 to guard guys like SGA. And then all of a sudden, Wiggins gets on SGA. And did you see SGA's stat line? I mean, he just vanishes the rest of the game. So Wiggins can't make a shot. He can't make a three. I think the mid-range is getting there. The layups are there. He can't make a three. But if you're telling me he can play that type of defense on the perimeter against a superstar like SGA, Sam, I mean, that's what the Warriors have missed for the whole season. The entire season, that's what they've missed.
Yeah, I mean, you could make the case he was the second best Warriors player during the playoff run and definitely the second best player to open the season. Like, he played so well the first month of the season when everything wasn't going well. I don't know, maybe not, but like, it's abundantly clear when they don't have Wiggins, who's their best two-way wing, very athletic defender and kind of like an athletic slasher who can hit open shots on the other end. Like you feel his absence when he's not there.
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't felt like he's been there for over a month. And tonight was a game, just reminds you, like you said, he had Shea in hell. And that's something they've been missing for a minute.
Dude,
so
I don't know how these last few months, how many times we just watch teams walk to the rim, get an open shot, and it finally felt like last season a little bit when Wiggins. It's not OKC's not a bad team. They didn't beat up the Houston Rockets tonight, man. No. OKC is a good NBA team, and if the Warriors messed around tonight like they've done many times, this could have been a 2-possession game down the wire, and it wasn't because of Wiggins shutting down SGA after the first quarter. For sure. That was a good game from him.
Let's show some love to the birthday boy real quick. I feel guilty bearing the lead on our guy Looney.
What we do.
Light years, by the way, #1 home of Looney fans. I don't even want to hear someone claim they like Looney more than us. Like, just it feels disrespectful. Looney turned 27 today. Another solid game, and I feel like in some ways he's like the rock of this team, right? Like I was thinking about it today. This is his 8th year on the Warriors. You know how many players in the NBA have been on the same team for 8 years? It's like less than 12.
In the current NBA.
Yeah, it's wild if you think. Like, I mean, he's hitting like Tatum, Giannis level of I've been on the same team that long in general. Like, we think about we think about Steph, Klay, and Draymond for obvious reasons, but it's like you don't think about the fact that like most players don't stay on NBA teams more than 5 years. So
has more championships than Giannis and Tatum too, by the way. Just be clear. Just to be clear. Be very clear.
No disrespect. But anyway.
He is sometimes, and we all say we don't pocket watch, but I get so angry when I see the amount of money that Kevon Looney makes, and I see what other people make in the NBA, and it just pisses me off because he is so good, not just as a Warrior. Dude, he would be good anywhere. Every basketball team that wants to win games and playoff games needs a Kevon Looney. Needs Kevon Looney. And it sucks that he doesn't get paid more money. But I guess maybe if you get paid more, he wouldn't be a Warrior, right? So I guess it's like, I don't know. It's one or the other, but man. I love him.
Tim's going, he's got enough money to live in Oakland.
He lives in an apartment.
Maybe. But look, man, and the wildest thing about him is he just keeps getting better. Like he's one of the 5 best rebounders in the NBA.
Ooh.
I don't feel like arguing the list, but like definitely top 10.
Wow.
Can you think of 10 better rebounders than Looney?
I'm not gonna. I'm not fighting you on it. I just think that's
how many bigs are better at switching than him.
Facts.
It's
better than DeAndre Ayton. Better than Brook Lopez.
The bigs who are better at switching than him are. It's like Draymond, Anthony Davis. Like okay, like fine. Like it's not like an insult to say he's not as good as those guys. And then his passing, like he's such a smart player. Like he's averaging like 3-4 assists a game. And he's mastered. I mean, he's kind of turned himself into Andrew Bogut, which is kind of wild because like Bogut's absurdly talented and he'll never really be appreciated for how good he was with the Warriors just because like, all we want to talk about is Steph and Klay, but like he is out of his mind, just the perfect Warrior center, right? Like there's no other way to put it.
I mean, just you brought it up, and I want to nail it again. There's not many switching bigs that are better than Kevon Looney in the NBA. DeAndre Ayton gets paid $290 million, however much he gets paid, and let me tell you something.
Slight exaggeration, but
if it's a game-winning stretch. 5 minutes for the Phoenix Suns, and you've got Devin Booker and Chris Paul and Cam. You got some shooters out there, so you can score, but you need to play defense against Luka Doncic. Much rather have Looney out there. And that's just a fact. Also, he's got way more dog in him than DeAndre. I don't know why I'm killing DeAndre. I don't know. Happy birthday, come on, Looney. Good for you. And it looks like
you know why you are, because Ayton has all the talent in the world.
I hate it.
But like it's just everything I dislike too. And I don't. It's not like he's not the only one. He's just the first top of mind one, contextually, right?
Yeah.
But like,
I mean, Cat, you could throw out there, Cat.
So. Looney's had how many hip surgeries? How much yogas he had to do to like get to here? You know what I mean? Like he wants it more, and you just kind of you hit a certain point where you're like, I'd rather ride with that guy than the more talented guy. Just end of story. Nothing else matters. That's all. All right, we got a couple of super chats I want to get to real quick.
All right.
From William Mitchell, the playback bets are hilarious. Appreciate Mikas for being a good sport. You guys got to come through Lightyear's playback watch parties. Tonight, Mikas was hosting. I popped in there for a little bit. I'm not going to comment on it for everyone's privacy, but they're a good time. You know, shout out Luke, shout out McWalter, shout out Ty, who've been holding it down. It's been a good time in there. We had a lot of fun on Saturday in there up until Steph got hurt, and then but whatever. In general, it's been a fun time. All right. Next question we got from Awesome. I have no optimism.
Oh, no.
I will believe this team is good when it happens. Things could get worse with no trades. Rollins' injury epitomizes my frustration. I can't go there, man. I'm in a good mood. Forget this game. I've made peace with the fact that I need the trade deadline to pass before I appropriately react to it. Like nothing about getting mad on Monday night is going to change what's going to happen in 2 to 3 days. So I just want to see what happens and then I'll get mad. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I'm with you. I also think that we're going to have to wait further than the trade deadline. We have to wait for the buyout market. Hey, actually, speaking of buyout market, JaMychal Green tonight. We forgot to shout him out. JM Goon, the guy that may have his roster spot in jeopardy because the Warriors may be looking to offload him. Looks like that he's going to be on the team for the rest of the season.
He's been good since he came back from injury. He, quite frankly, has looked like what I thought they were getting when they got him at the beginning of the season, and he had a subpar start to the season, right? Like another way to put it, right? Yeah. But like, don't you agree? Like, look, is he Otto Porter with like cerebral passes and shooting? No, but like the energy level is what I expected. Like he's making plays, man. Make plays with your energy. Like be who you are, and he's playing up to his capabilities and making positive impact performances.
That the thing about JaMychal Green, because when you compare him to Otto Porter, it's unfair. Yeah, it's unfair. It's unfair because Otto Porter should never have been a vet min guy. He was obviously a 10 million plus player. JaMychal Green has never been that in his career. But JaMychal Green's got that aggressiveness at the rim type of energy that the Warriors really, really, really lack. The Thunder were really small tonight, and JaMychal Green knew that. And I know he traveled on that play, but when he got the ball under the rim and he just took a step and just put his ass and just shoved over Trey Mann, I was like, yes, because there's no other Warrior that does that. Right. Draymond's super tough, but he's not that type of player on offense. Kuminga, he's starting to learn. Kuminga's starting to get there. Yeah. Andrew Wiggins is not that guy on offense either. He's got his other strengths. And then the rest of the Warriors aren't that type of player. So you've got JaMychal Green doing it. I think
Steph's
it's pretty
not
cool.
Getting his ass into guys and bully balling a dunk. No.
You know, we wish the other big guy could do that, but that's not what he does either. And, you know, whatever. But JaMychal Green is doing that. I think that's pretty cool.
Stock
He's also
up.
making threes.
Stock up.
Are we talking about him tonight? We're not.
No,
we're not. Let's keep moving. Let's go. Good for JM Goon. I like him.
Our guy Frank throwing this to us. Greetings from Chase. Ooh. Draymond's block was impressive to see tonight. Shout out to JaMychal for playing aggressive and throwing down a few dunks. Yeah, piggybacking off what we were saying. I thought we didn't even talk about Draymond, but Draymond had that extra. He had that extra Draymond gear where it's like, I'm getting a win tonight, going with him. And to his point, JaMychal, we just talked about it. I mean, if they can play like this, I think they could ride out no Steph for 10 games minimum. And we don't know if it's going to be 10 games. Hopefully it's only 5.
Wow.
But like you get what I'm saying? Like if they play with that kind of energy and that little kick, like, yeah, are they going to drop a game that they might not drop without Steph? Sure. But like they can absolutely survive it, particularly in this mediocre West. You know what I'm saying?
And they made what, like, 33s tonight. Like, take away the fact that they made a bunch of threes. The process I thought was great. It wasn't a let's chuck up a shit ton of threes and because we made a lot, we won. They didn't win because they made a bunch of threes. They won because they played really good defense. They didn't turn the ball over, and they got good shots. It was all mostly good threes, and I thought that process was good. Draymond, to Frank's point, dude, when he locks in on defense like he did tonight, I mean, how many times do we have to say this? Is there anybody better? Is there anybody better? I don't think so. I don't think so.
It's true.
Ridiculous.
Timmy, let's play some voicemails.
To the goons.
Hey guys, Nate. Obviously the Warriors versus Thunder game hasn't finished, but I just had a thought. It's probably a little optimistic given the current state of affairs with Steph Curry's injury and whatnot, but could this be a good thing? Could this mean that Kuminga is able to get 25 to 30 minutes per night? We get to play some more versatile wing lineups and just generally have some of our younger players get some more run. And maybe we can hover a little bit above 500. And when Curry gets back, we can make a run with the full squad. Also, Poole looks fucking awesome right now. I don't know what Twitter threads he was on, but he seems to be responding to the noise really well. Thanks so much. Sorry if I'm out of breath. I'm walking back from class right now.
What is he doing? Love it. I love
Appreciate it, Nate. Hey, don't miss class.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to say this. I do think this period could be decent for them, like just to force them to grow up a little bit and play a little more serious. I don't know about Kuminga. By the way, Kuminga, 5 assists tonight. Ooh.
Played really well.
He's just getting the offense on
really well.
He's getting it, he's getting there. So I'm curious. I'll buy the theory that it could potentially be good for this team because sometimes it feels like they play like Steph save us ball. And sometimes it's like better to just see them like.
Yeah, I don't know. We saw them do this that last time Steph got hurt. You know what I mean? And like we had the same discussion. So I don't know if I buy that. The Kuminga point I like better is that's the small ball lineup I like, dude. I don't like the small ball lineup with Steph, Klay, and Poole out there. They don't play any defense. This small ball lineup with Poole, Klay, and then you throw Wiggins and Kuminga on the wing with Draymond at the 5, especially against a smaller team like OKC. Money. That's the small ball lineup the Warriors should go with. So it's not that small ball doesn't work. It's the personnel that doesn't work when you have the 3-guard lineup together. Looks like we got another comment.
No, it makes total sense. Like it's about the fit. Like Wiggins isn't trying to dribble the ball in circles, and neither's Kuminga. I mean, maybe early in the season, but he's not anymore. So it makes a little more sense than what they were doing with the 3-guard lineup. But Tim, let's get to the next one.
What's up, light years? I just got out the game. Klay Thompson burner in person is something else. We're going to win the chip this year. Let's go. Take care. Bye.
I love it. Andy, what is the best Klay Thompson performance you've seen in person?
Oh, it's not even close. It's Sacramento, 37 points. It was the best performance I have ever seen.
Out of body.
I was out of body. I was sitting on, it was a Friday night. I remember this. I didn't want to go to the game. I was back when I was covering the team, and it's a Friday. I want to go drink. I'm like 24, 20. I don't forget what I was. And then I go to the game, and I'm sitting middle row. They give good seats because it's Sacramento. Nobody's showing up. No media is showing up back then. And
you sit in front row with Strauss and Mark Spears?
I think I was up to I think it might have been next to Nate Duncan, probably, who by the way, he never has any emotion. We love him, but total weirdo. But he makes this shot. Dude. He makes a shot on Nick Stauskas that he's looking sideways. He's not looking at the rim, and he catches it on the baseline. and then he just throws it at the rim. You know what I'm talking about? He just throws
I remember
it at
the shot.
rim.
Yeah.
And I stood up. It's the only time ever as a person with a credential that I cheered on the bench because I stood up and went, oh shit. And just the best. I'm sure if I saw OKC Game 6, it would have been better, but that was the best for me that I've ever seen.
OKC Game 6 was on the road, so neither of us were in Oklahoma for that one. I do. By the way, the comments.
Hey, my guy Diamond.
I forgot about Diamond Leung, the legend. I want to also throw out the Toronto game where he tore his ACL. Was there was a shot he hit in transition with two guys on his hands, with Steph waving his hands, going like, "Dumb, I'm wide open," and he's just like, "Nah, I'm that fucking hot." And it was, it didn't hit anything but net. Like it was because his shot is so pure when he's on. Like it's on, and it was. I just remember being like, they're gonna win this, and they're going back to Toronto, and they're gonna win. Like it was one of those utmost confident performance type of shots I've ever seen, because it's not just the shot making, although that alone is impressive. It's like the confidence and the feeling everyone on both teams has, where it's like, no, this dude's. It doesn't matter how many of us guard him. He's just rising up and gonna hit it at all times. It's another level.
Did you cry when he came out of the tunnel? I know you're not a crier, but did you cry?
No, I was too amped to like truly process.
Yeah.
And then I got a text, and you and I got the same text on the same text thread that he tore his ACL. I was like, fuck. Immediately blocked the number. It's like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Get out of here. That was I wish one of the roughest games probably in Warriors history, but still one of the coolest games. And it's also cool looking back at it now in history, because we thought, I don't know, a lot of people thought that right there was when the Warriors dynasty died in that arena. Game 6, that was when they died.
Not to like wax poetic, but like I walked out of that game just like I wasn't upset. I was just like,
no.
I just the utmost respect. Like I literally watched him like die on the court. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like one of those things where it's like I can't ask for anything more. Like I can't be like, what was Kerr doing?
Yeah.
Why did Draymond foul him? It's like, no, man, they left it on the court in a way that like made me just like, all right, if that's how it's gonna be, that's how it's gonna be.
Yep.
Like you don't leave with more questions.
Yep.
Type of thing. And now he's back, and he's playing like a monster.
It's ridiculous.
Shout out Klay Thompson.
It's ridiculous. Shout out Klay Thompson. Because they were playing with Quinn Cook, Alfonso McKinney, and DeMarcus Cousins. Yeah,
where's our guy Jonas? What league is he in? What league are any of them in? Bro, Bob,
it was only 3 years ago. And
Bob puts together some special rosters.
Oh my God, Bob's better. What?
We got Jonas Repko's in. He's not even on the main team in Moscow. He's in Kimchi Moscow, like not even CSKA. Anyway,
wow.
Next one, Timmy.
Yo, Sam and Andy, this is Mike and Meredith, just getting off of the hosting on playback. Meredith, shout out Pacific Catch real quick. Like, just give a Pacific Catch ad read. Okay, well, Meredith is
I love Nikas.
not participating, I guess. So that's funny. I was trying to get a Pacific Catch ad read, but we just had a very successful and fun playback. If people listening aren't joining us for playback, what are you doing? Where me and McWalter and Meredith and Francisco, we were all sitting there like, I bet on 2 Klay assists and a 13-leg parlay that missed by 2 legs. And, Klay only had 1 assist. He wasn't really feeling like passing tonight, but hey, hell of a game. And like I said when Steph got injured, it sounds like I'm a little drunk off the Tito's. I'm only a little drunk off the Tito's. It's fine. But like I said when Steph got injured, they can be okay. It's just, do they want to do something at the trade deadline? Guys, I'm sure you're getting this asked regularly. What's the trade deadline move? Sam, what are the sources? Meredith, ask Sam, what are Sam's sources from the trade deadline, real quick?
All right. Appreciate you, Mikas. Appreciate you, Meredith. By the way, you really do need to go into the Light Years playback room. Andy? Sorry, someone in the chat just goes Stephen A's tweet about McKinney's an all-timer. Indeed. What is your confidence level that they make a trade or they make a move at the deadline?
How many times you ask me this once a week, and I swear I've been.
Well, dude, I'm going to ask you. We have at least this pod and the next one before the deadline.
Exactly.
So I'm going to give it to you 2 more times.
And here's the thing: my confidence level has eroded every single time you've asked me. I've gone from it's happening. Last time you asked me, 80%. I'm now at 70. I don't. The more we get closer to the deadline, the more it feels like the Warriors are just going to say, why are we going to trade Wiseman when we can't get anything for him? And the only thing we can trade him for is if we give up a first-round pick. Then forget it. We'd rather hold on to him than add a 9th man. That's how I feel, but I still have it at 70% because I think when it comes down to it, Draymond's walking in that door and he's telling Joe Lacob, give me a fucking player. You know what I mean? Give me Alex Caruso. Give me Jared Vanderbilt. Obviously, those are the 2 guys that I love. And it feels like a first-round pick and Wiseman is going to do it. So
what if Joe Lacob gets you Alfonso McKinney? Shout out our guy Stephen A. Smith, who 4 and change years ago goes, what the hell is going on? I love b-ball, competitive b-ball. It's bad enough the Warriors are the Warriors, but now they got this dude Alfonso McKinney. Remember this name. If this kid is what I think he is, it just ain't fair. Just isn't. Rich get richer. By the way, shout out you for the first comment under there.
How did I get it? I don't remember that. I spelled his name wrong. He didn't even spell McKinney's name correctly.
No.
I feel bad for Alfonso McKinney because he was actually, he's
a good energy. He was an energy player, right?
He would have been good if the Warriors had KD in that series. Like he would have came in and given good minutes. It would have been a good 10 minutes game that we would have given, but he somehow ended up guarding Kawhi Leonard for long stretches. The hell are you supposed to do? It's, you know what I mean? So tough for him. He never made it back in the league, huh? Or did he play on a couple other teams before he? I swear I saw him in Cleveland or something. I thought he did.
He did have a Cleveland run. That is a factual statement. Good memory. You think 70%? I'm going less than 70% on a move.
Under 50.
I'm under 50 right now. That does not mean I don't want it to happen. I'm leaning at less likely than more likely right now. Maybe it's the pessimism. Maybe I'm being too negative. Just standard.
Hey, real quick, before we get to the last call, I'm just looking at this and kind of doing this on the fly here, but I just saw Mark Spears. This is either ESPN. I don't know if this is after the game, before the game, but it looks like he's saying, and I sent it over in the chat here, it looks like saying there is optimism that he will be back before March, Sam. And from Ramona Shelburne, my sense with the Steph Curry injury is that this is the kind of injury that the Warriors feel like they avoided, could have been a lot worse. So maybe some good news if it's before March. Maybe
they come back from the All-Star game the 23rd of February. I'm not saying Steph will be back for that one, but knowing him, he's probably aiming for that one. But you know what? If he's back before March, we're talking 6, 8 total games. That's nothing. That's a big win, right?
Yep. Yeah. Then thumbs up.
We'll take that. Double thumbs.
Double thumbs. We'll take it.
All right, let's get to the last call.
Yo. Pastor here. What a fucking game. Hey, if you aren't watching on the playback, Mikas just killed it with the comedy tonight in his bets. Join in whenever he's hosting. He's fucking phenomenal. But this putrid franchise of the OKC Thunder is just an absolute joke. I mean, there's no step out there. Look at the effort level they had. They came out hot in the first and then just quivered like the putrid franchise that they are. Totally expected. Can't believe it. Klay had an amazing game. Absolutely phenomenal. I'm stoked. It would be amazing if they could just wrap off a few more wins before the All-Star break and start getting all these doomers to just shut up for a few minutes. All right, have a good one, guys. Late.
Hey,
like
I
that.
got nothing
like
to add
that.
to that.
like
I got
that.
nothing to add. Shout out McWalters. We're gonna end on that. We want more wins. Going to the break, positive record. See what happens.